So you've been waiting to see the second draft from my team and to see how I use all the information I've been giving you into building my team. Well, coming up next is my second draft for my FPL side. What's up guys, and welcome to J&O United, bringing the best in football news, entertainment and games, and bringing you 30 days of FPL, perhaps one of the most successful things I've ever done on YouTube. So if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe. The subscriber count is probably still soaring. I've recorded, this is maybe the 5th or 6th video I've done today, so I have no idea what my subscriber count will be today. Leave that in the comments down below what my subscriber count is when you watch this video. Make sure to smash that thumbs up button, and of course leave your comments about what you think of my second draft side. Now, before I get into this side, it's on the screen right now, I want to make it very clear that this side has been attempted anyway to be optimised for the first 3 game week, because then there's the international transfer window, and my plan right now is to use my wild card then, because I'd have at least seen 3 game weeks of Premier League football, and hopefully by then I'll have a pretty good grasp on which players I want in my side. So this side has been picked with those 3 game weeks in mind and no further. Now, this is quite a common tactic to use your wildcard early, especially last season I had a terrible start, so I'm glad I used my wildcard quite early. But generally you never know how the season's going to start out. You can't predict it. We can all try, and sometimes we're right, but sometimes we can be so terribly wrong. So this lineup is going to attempt to score the most points in the first 3 game weeks that I possibly can, and then I'm going to look at the long-term picture. Also, the benefit of that means you'll now know who the nailed-on players are ideally for the sides that you're looking at picking players from. In goal, we're starting with Mandanda and Ben Foster. Now, they rotate quite well, especially for those first 3 game weeks. Both, I believe, are good quality keepers, capable of keeping clean sheets. They're both coming at 4.5 million, which means I've only spent 9 million on my goalkeepers, and means I can try and get some of the heavy hitters from the first 3 game weeks put in, because I've saved a little bit of money in goal. Now, I believe the only reason Ben Foster is at the price he is at is because of his injury proneness. If he had been playing consistently 38 games a season, I believe he would be a £5 million goalkeeper. In defence, my 2 premium choices are Azpilicueta and Luke Shaw. Now, the reason for them is both because they're slightly cheaper than other options in their side. Also, I believe Chelsea will be a lot more defensively solid. I believe Luke Shaw will have the chance to prove himself as the first choice left back at Manchester United, and I think Manchester United will remain tight at the back. So I believe clean sheets are possible, and I believe attacking returns are also possible from both players. Azpilicueta could be playing in a 3-5-2 formation or a 5-3-2 formation, which means he could be playing more of a wing back than a full back, which means he could get some attacking returns. That isn't nailed on, and Conte has actually started using 4-4-2 for this Chelsea side, which kind of negates that thought, but I'm waiting to see if he changes formation, then maybe I will pick a different Chelsea defender. Now, both of those teams have decent chances at clean sheets because of their opposition as well, which is why they've gone in for now. The other defenders are Peters from Stoke, Johnny Evans from West Brom, and Simon Francis from Bournemouth. Now, the reason behind those picks is because they're cheap defenders who I believe have games that they could get clean sheets in. Now, right now, I'm trying to keep it as cheap as possible so I can pick some of the heavy hitters elsewhere. So that is why they're in. Francis has a goal threat and an assist threat, which is good. And I believe the West Brom and Stoke defenders rotate quite well, although it might be the Bournemouth defender rotates with one of those 2. In midfield, my premium price options are Eden Hazard and Mkhitaryan for now. I'm probably going to chop and change on this, but I think Eden Hazard could have a great season this season. He could be the focal point for a Conte side, and Mkhitaryan could be the focal point for getting the assists in that Manchester United side. Again, both have good fixtures, which is why they've gone in, and hopefully I'm right in picking those 2 players. I didn't pick De Bruyne because I'm picking Aguero, but De Bruyne was definitely an option because Man City have a favourable start to the season as well. My next option is Eric Lamela. I picked this team and I had only 7 million left, so for another midfielder, and Lamela looks like one of the better options at 7 million. If If he keeps performing the way he was last season and that Tottenham side keeps improving, then Lamela could have a great season this year. He could be very cheap at 7 million. Then we have Townsend as the other midfielder. Palace don't have too bad a start to the season, and I think Townsend showed last season that he is hungry and he wants to prove himself, and I don't think you spend that much money on a player and don't start him, which is why Townsend's there. And then Etienne Capoe is the fifth midfielder. I believe he's 5.5 million, and from what I've read of Watford games, he has been given more of a freedom to roam forward and be more of an attacking threat, which is why he's gone into the side. But of course that could change. And then up front we've got Lukaku, we've got Aguero, and we have Callum Wilson. Then up front we have Lukaku, we have Aguero, and we have Shane Long. Again, I've kind of gone for fixtures, but I think Shane Long at his price could be a great option. If he is the first choice striker for a Southampton side, and at that price, I think it's 6.5 million, that is ridiculously cheap for a Southampton striker because Graziano Pella has moved on. Aguero is Aguero. I know I've said every now and again that you may not necessarily need him, but for the fixtures, especially the first 3 fixtures, and the fact that I think Aguero could be fit enough to start at full fitness, I think Aguero has to go in, especially with that opening fixture. If he has a great first game against Sunderland, you could leave some people in your wake. And then Lukaku, he doesn't have the best first game, but I believe his next 2 fixtures are quite tasty, so that is why I've gone with Lukaku. Hopefully that Everton side can improve under Koeman, and Koeman can improve Lukaku's goal scoring record. Anyway guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That is my second draft of my team. I'm sure there will be a third draft, and I'll definitely do a draft of my team just before the season starts. I believe I have the weekend off that the season starts in, which is good. And I may even do a live stream the morning of the beginning of the Premier League. So if that's a thing, definitely make sure to tune into that. I'll try and interact with you guys as much as possible that morning. Anyway guys, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been JNO, you've been awesome, and remember, it's all about the game.